I'm going to gavel the meeting to order. Regular meeting number 18 will now come to order. May we have the playing of the national anthem. Councilmember Remy, would you please lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This afternoon, council is pleased and appreciative to have Pastor Amy Aspey, lead pastor at the Short North Church, who will lead us in prayer. Pastor Amy.
Thank you for having me. Sometimes our church prays with poetry. So tonight I offer a poem called Shake My Future by Dorothea Smart. And Ms. Smart is London-born to Barbadian parents and is an internationally respected poet and live artist. Her words are a prophetic and poetic prayer for these pandemic days. So let us pray. Shake my future. Push me past my complacency, my taken for granted, my comfort zone. Shake my future. Let me source the unimagined, be released from the sentence of the inevitable, take control, empower myself past the dour predictions of the present, and change myself. Shake my future. Challenge our first world capitalistic, consumeristic, criminal zone of perpetual purchasing. Shake my future. Past the edges of the known world, launch me out into the hitherlands of the intuited imagined, beyond the droughts of apathy, and quench my thirst for something different. Shape my future with alternative endings, curdle the milk of human kindness beyond the patronizing rattle of charity cans to preserve the poor and assuage my guilt. Shake my future with a kaleidoscope of tunes, play some other melody, and bliss me out of ignorance. Let my mind expand with a question, and seeking the answers, shake my future, shake my future, shake my future in a triangle of tangential tirades, and beckon me into a sandwich of yes, we can, and hope. In the name of all that is holy and hopeful. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you for your spiritual guidance and sharing that with us this evening. Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, and Harden.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Councilmember. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
This week's communication received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the city bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not this time.
Thank you. Are there any resolutions by members of council?
Council President, I have one resolution.
Councilmember Mitch Brown, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. I have one resolution this evening. I would like to move from consent ordinance 0079X2020 to declare the week of May 8th through May 16th, 2020, Light Ohio Blue Week. In honor of our men and women in uniform, downtown Columbus has come together to light Ohio blue from May 8th through May 16th, 2020. Whereas every day, over 1,900 officers of the Columbus Division of Police face the challenge
Councilmember, we're having trouble hearing you.
Is that better?
There we go. So sorry. There you go.
The resolution of expression that I asked to have moved, Council President, from consent to ordinance 0079X 2020 to declare the week of May 8th through May 16th, 2020, Light Ohio Blue Week. Whereas in honor of the men and women in uniform, downtown Columbus has come together to light Ohio blue from May 8th through May 16th, 2020. And whereas every day, over 1,900 officers of the Columbus Division of Police face the challenge of keeping every Columbus neighborhood safe with bravery and honor, and whereas the members of the Columbus Division of Police perform their duty under the direction of core values, integrity, compassion, accountability, respect, and excellence, and whereas Light Ohio Blue is also an opportunity to remember those law enforcement officers who have given the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, and whereas on 2016, Mr. William Plank began this campaign in honor of the first responders in the Columbus community, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby declare May 8th through May 16th as Light Ohio Blue Week and expresses gratitude to the women and men of the Columbus Division of Police for their service to the City of Columbus. I encourage everyone to participate in the Light Ohio Blue Week by lighting the exterior homes with a blue light beginning this Friday, May 8th. While we're acknowledging our Columbus police officers with this resolution, I want to remind everyone that the Light Ohio Blue movement includes law enforcement officers in our surrounding communities and across the state. Our police officers, firefighters, and EMS personnel are always on the front line serving us. Whenever you have an opportunity, thank them for their service. That act of kindness is especially helpful during these trying times. Are there any comments from my colleagues?
Looks like Councilmember Remy.
Councilman Remy?
Thank you so much, Councilmember Brown, for highlighting this important week. As many are aware, we had an officer that was stabbed on Friday evening, and over the weekend I had the opportunity to talk with his partner and himself. Actually, fortunately, he's going to be okay. But if it wasn't for his partner who first arrested the suspect and then applied life-saving pressure to his neck where he was stabbed. That officer may not be here today, and I want to make sure that everybody has awareness that although crime's down right now, according to the chief, gun crimes, domestic violence, burglary, felonious assault are all up. And so these people are out there not only risking their lives in a coronavirus environment, but also with domestic violence situations. And so we really want to I want to extend my sincere appreciation for the work that our Columbus Police Department does and what they do on a day in and day out basis. And talking with the partner, he said it was mainly that he was emotionally drained. And so the mental aspect of what they do on a day in and day out basis is so important to realize. And so when you see an officer, thank them, put that blue light out. Take the time to recognize the life-saving opportunities that they put themselves into every single day. And thank you so much to our men and women at the Columbus Police Department.
Thank you, Councilman Remy. If there are no other comments from my colleagues, I move for adoption.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Chair, or Councilmember Brown. Are there any other resolutions from council members?
Council President, I don't have a resolution, but I do have an announcement.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yes, my announcement is in regards to Life Care Alliance. And just want to make sure that if you are an individual who is over 60 years old and you are in need of meals, I have a number for you to call for Life Care Alliance. Life Care Alliance, they are serving about 50 new clients daily. And since COVID-19, they're providing 46% more meals than they provided in the past. And they have served so far 2,300 new clients. And again, if you are, this has changed because it used to be that you could come together, they had congregate serving of meals. Based upon the change because of COVID, that more seniors are at home in need of those meals. And so we are thankful that for Life Care Alliance, 2 weeks ago, we supported the organization to be able to provide funding for them to be able to respond to COVID for $400,000 to support them to serve our seniors. And if you are still in need of a meal, please contact 614-278-3130. Again, 614-278-3130. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Favor.
Thank you, Council President Harden. Tonight, I would like to bring a resolution from the floor, and I would move to introduce Resolution 0082X-2020. And generally, I don't read entire resolutions, but tonight I believe strongly that this is one that I want to read at tonight's council meeting, and so that our residents understand the advocacy that their representatives are doing for them here in the city of Columbus. And so the resolution is entitled A Resolution in Support of Federal Housing Dollars to Combat the Impact of COVID-19. Whereas housing is foundational to our economy and keeping our residents in their homes is of the utmost importance, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. As a result of COVID-19, many of our businesses have had to shut their doors, leaving citizens unemployed and consequently without the ability to pay rent and other bills. The failure of tenants to pay rent also impacts our landlords' ability to care for their families. Is a domino effect. Over 1,100 evictions have been filed with the Franklin County Municipal Court as of May 4th, 2020, and we expect this number to rise once the court reopens. Whereas throughout the course of the pandemic, we have had conversations with various housing partners that include property managers, shelter operators, nonprofit advocates, and others. They would all agree that additional funding for rental assistance is key to helping navigate the housing challenges presented by the current public health crisis. Whereas when we consider the inextricable link between housing stability and public health, we cannot afford to overlook this problem. An eviction or foreclosure today will likely have a long-term negative impact on a family, including a record that will make it more difficult to secure safe and affordable housing in the future. Whereas we cannot allow tenants to fall prey to evictions, nor should we let our landlords absorb these catastrophic losses. A thoughtful and complete response to the housing needs of our residents in the wake of COVID-19 is paramount. We are calling on our federal counterparts to push for emergency housing and rental assistance to be included in the next stimulus package. Cities and states simply cannot do this alone. Whereas we support the efforts of the group of House and Senate leaders fighting to include $100 billion for emergency rental assistance in the next COVID-19 emergency stimulus package. Under this proposal, low-income tenants who recently lost employment would apply for financial assistance to be paid directly to their landlords. This proposal would allow some arrearages to be covered, as well as rent payments going forward until re-employment is possible. This will keep tenants stably housed while ensuring property owners can continue operating responsibly. Whereas courts across the country will reopen in June, and with eviction hearing moratoriums being lifted, we must act swiftly so that families can remain in their homes and avoid a devastating eviction filing, and worse, homelessness. We urge you to use your voice and advocate for emergency housing and rental assistance to help stabilize our residents and ultimately our economy. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby advocate to the Ohio Congressional Delegation for a focus on financial support from the federal government for emergency rental assistance in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I would move for adoption.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Resolution adopted.
Thank you, Council President Harden. And one brief announcement to our listening audience. On May 13th at 5 p.m., I will be hosting a virtual hearing to address the proposed creation of the following community reinvestment areas: the Quarry, Grandview Crossing, and Northland Gate. The hearing will also address the expansion of the Linden Community Reinvestment Area. That's all, Council President Harden. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. I see Councilmember Remy. Councilmember Dorans, do you have any resolutions or comments this evening?
Just one quick announcement, Council President. Thank you. I just want to take a minute to thank the Department of Neighborhoods, Building and Zoning, Development, and the Technology Department, as well as the City Attorney's Office, the Mayor, and Council, along with everyone's respective teams, and most importantly, your area commissioners, for the collective work in creating guidelines for our area commissions to continue to do business during this pandemic. For the past 2 months, boards, panels, and commissions responsible for the review and plan applications for development projects have been unable to meet due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Today, the mayor signed an executive order aligned with the High-Rise Code that will temporarily allow groups to convene and conduct business via web-based meetings, similar to what council is doing here tonight. Area commissions will be supported by the Department of Building and Zoning and Neighborhoods, in accordance with the City Attorney's Office and our Department of Technology, who I think all of us would agree has done an amazing job during this crisis. City staff will host meetings for these groups using WebEx video conferencing, and agendas and case materials will be posted to commission websites prior to meetings. The feedbacks of area commissions is valuable to this council, which is why providing the necessary tech support to ensure that all of our commissions can continue to do what they do is vital. And it's a top priority for both the mayor and city council. Due to the current crisis, we know our commissioners are being asked to change the way that they do business. When that happens, there's always going to be some bumps in the road, and I thank our commissioners for being in this with us. And I believe that all of them will rise to the challenge ahead and continue to serve Columbus well. So that is all I have this evening, President Harden.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you guys for hanging with me and be going so out of order. But Councilmember, President Pro Tem, do you have any announcements or resolutions?
Just a quick reminder to everyone that it's Teacher Appreciation Week. And, you know, we typically have teachers down to council and make a thing of it. And I'm missing that occasion this year, but all of us have had teachers in our lives who've impacted us. I truly think every one of us has. And I'm just going to do a quick shout out to my daughter who's 4. Her pre-K class, she has 3 incredible teachers: Carolyn Thomas, Consuelo Green, and Michelle Graham. And they take a rowdy bunch of 4-year-olds and try to give them lessons over circle time at 10 a.m. twice a week. And it's incredible to see the way that they capture these 4-year-olds' minds. That's hard to do over Zoom, you guys. And so I just wanted a quick reminder to everyone to think about a teacher you know and maybe send them a note, because our teachers are going through it right now. And then I wanted to personally shout out 3 teachers who've made an incredible impact on my the very young mind of my daughter.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Remy.
Thank you so much, Council President Harden. I have a couple of announcements this evening. Thank you, President Pro Tem Brown, for bringing up Teacher Appreciation Week. I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to show my appreciation for my very own wife, Elizabeth Brown Remy, and all all of her colleagues at Columbus City Schools for their advocacy and hard work in making sure that they change the lives of our children throughout the city. And to all the teachers from far, we see you, we thank you, and we definitely appreciate you. It's also Economic Development Week. As the chair of Economic Development Committee, I want to remind everyone that today also marks the start of Economic Development Week. The goal of Economic Development Week is to increase awareness for local programs that create jobs, advance career development opportunities, and increase the quality of life in communities everywhere. Economic Development Week is also designed to highlight the importance of economic development and the good work that economic developers do every single day. Lastly, I have a couple of virtual community hours to announce. This Thursday, May 7th, we will be meeting, and also on Thursday, May 14th. Both times will be between 4 and 5. Our dial-in number this week is 650-479-3207, and the access code is 842-7070-7826. For more information on this meeting and for upcoming meetings, please visit my Facebook page, which is CMEV Remy, R-E-M-Y, and sign up for email and notifications from columbus.gov. Thanks so much, Council President Hardin. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Councilmember. I see Judge Barrows is with us in our virtual council chambers this evening. Do you have any comments, Judge?
Not at this point, Council President. Thank you very much.
Welcome back, and we've appreciated the partnership and the work that you've done, specifically with our housing chair over the last several weeks. So we appreciate it. Please pass that along to the judges. City Auditor, do you have any announcements? All right. City Attorney's Office. All right, and our City Treasurer, Mr. Clee, how are you? Any announcement? All right. Well, I was before I call on Assistant Commissioner Mike Fielding of the Columbus Department of Public Health, just wanted to raise this. That 2 weeks ago when council met and Commissioner Roberts provided council with an update, there were 17 deaths within the CPH jurisdiction. Today, there are 57 deaths. That's 40 of our constituents, 40 of our residents in Columbus or in Worthington who were with us at our last council meeting who have passed because of COVID-19. So as we continue the conversations around transitioning to this next phase of openness, and we hear and move through the spring and the summer, let us remember that this is here, that this is amongst us, and that families are losing loved ones because of it. With that, I'll turn it over to Assistant Health Commissioner Mike Fielding.
Thank you, President Hardin, President Pro Tem Brown, and fellow council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you briefly about the status of COVID-19 in the city of Columbus, and including Worthington. President Hardin, those are appreciated because every time we hear we get a confirmed case or a probable case, and certainly anytime we have a death, it hits to every heart of every public health person here at Columbus Public Health. We actually were talking about that a little bit today, is what resources we have for our staff that are reaching out and talking to family members who have lost someone. And at times, we find out the person we're calling for is deceased. So certainly is very touching and trying time for us in public health. To give you a brief overview, in the state of Ohio, we have 19,094 cases, 957 deaths, again in the state of Ohio. And as you mentioned, we have 2,390 cases in Columbus and Worthington. Total deaths that we have are 58. It's one more than President Hardin that you mentioned. Unfortunately, one more, which is about 2% of our cases. Of our cases, around 409 or 17% are healthcare workers. Of the 58 deaths, approximately, I'm looking here, well, not approximately, 35 of those 58 deaths are in our long-term care facilities. It's about a 50 or 60% is the number, 60% or so of our total deaths. When you think about the number of staff here at Columbus Public Health working, we put in over 35,000 hours. Our total labor cost is $1.8 million. So that gives you some of the basic numbers for the city and Worthington. I do want to also mention that we've distributed 400 specimen collection kits. These are the sampling kits. Many of these have been going to our long-term care facilities. We've made a special effort to get these kits out to those long-term care facilities that haven't been able to test their clientele. We've also received around 4,000 calls into our public information line, which is 645-1519. And each one of those calls we give our utmost attention to and try to provide the services that are needed and answer the questions that come across. We've also been out on 533 compliance checks. Most of those checks are, they turn out to be very positive. People are abiding by the state law. But we have had to put out about 25 enforcement letters, and then subsequently we would do a follow-up inspection. So having heard of that, are there any questions? We continue to work hard every day. We are in an incident command structure, and so over the weekend we're staffed here taking calls and working on the objectives of the day to ensure we're protecting the community.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Please pass along to all the folks on the front line, all the workers in public health, our great appreciation. Are there any questions or comments for Assistant Commissioner from my colleagues? Seeing none, thank you so much, Commissioner Fielding.
Thank you.
Are there any requests by members of council for the removal of an ordinance or resolution from the consent portion of the agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive reading of the titles of 30-day legislation by the city clerk? Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Hardin.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Finance Committee, ordinances 909 and 1005-2020. Public Utilities Committee, ordinances 890, 906, 907, 923, 924, 926, 929, 931, 933, 934, 935, 936, 939, 944, 948, 950, 962, 963, 965, 966, 968, 971, 972, and 992-2020. Neighborhoods Committee, ordinance 1114-2020. Public Service and Transportation Committee, ordinance 1035-2020. Housing Committee, ordinances 1101, 1105, 1106, 1107-2020. Economic Development Committee, ordinance 912, 954, 1047, 1048, and 1112-2020. Health and Human Services Committee, ordinance 1113-2020. Small and Minority Business Committee, resolutions 66X, 67X, 68X, 69X, and 70X-2020.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent action. Read those into the record as well, please.
Finance Committee, ordinances 234, 684, 687, 698, 709, 711, 712, 725, 794, 843, 974, 921, 955, 956, 969, 973, and 1049-2020. Recreation and Parks Committee ordinances 624, 625, 833, 852, 2020. Education Committee Ordinance 901-2020. Public Safety Committee Ordinances 938, 947, 1036, and 1076-2020. Public Utilities Committee Ordinances 539, 649, 650, 664, 671, 697, 727, 774, 785, 787, 797, 819, 823, 826, 846, 848, 851, 919, 920, 935-2020. Technology Committee, Ordinance 928 and 1031-2020. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Ordinances 805, 813, 977, 995, 1007, and 1009-2020. Housing Committee, Ordinances 999 and 1000-2020. Criminal Justice and Judiciary Committee, Ordinances 799, 899, 980, and 982-2020. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinance 1032-2020. Small and Minority Business Committee, Ordinances 800, 802, 808, 810, 812, 827, and 953-2020. Appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0046, 47, 48, and 49-2020.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent action? Is there a second? Clerk, please call the roll by voice.
Ms. Brown?
That was a yes.
That was a yes. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Dorans?
Yes.
Ms. Favor?
Yes.
Mr. Remy?
Yes.
Ms. Tyson?
Yes, with the exception of 980-2020 on which I am abstaining. Thank you.
President Harden?
Yes, ordinance passed with the noted exceptions. We will now proceed with the second reading of 30-day and table and emergency legislation. The first committee to come before council is the Finance Committee, and that is chaired by our President Pro Tem. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Can you hear me this time?
Yeah, we can hear you. There
Thank
you go.
you. Okay. In Finance Committee tonight, we have Ordinance 0844-2020 to authorize the Finance and Management Director. I'm sorry, I'm actually starting that. I started a little late, a little far down there, going back up to the top. The first two ordinances I'm going to read authorize the refinancing of city debt at the direction of Auditor Kilgore. The bond market is highly volatile at this time, so these ordinances provide the flexibility necessary to respond to rapid fluctuations in the market as quickly as possible in order to realize savings for Columbus taxpayers. I want to thank Auditor Kilgore specifically for her ongoing management of city finances. Responsible and fiscally sound stewardship of city debt saves taxpayers millions of dollars. It's always important. It's even more important now. So first, Ordinance 0744-2020 to authorize the issuance of unlimited tax general obligation bonds in one or more federally taxable in one or more series in an amount not to exceed $281,490,000 for the purpose of providing funds to advance refund certain outstanding general obligation bonds of the city. I request to waive second reading.
Second.
Clerk, please
And
call.
I-
Sorry.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson. President Harden?
Waived.
Next is Ordinance 0745-2020 to authorize the issuance of limited tax general obligation bonds federally taxable in one or more series in an amount not to exceed $160,340,000 for the purpose of providing funds to advance refund certain outstanding general obligation bonds of the city. I request to waive second reading,
Second.
and I move for.
Did we pass I think we didn't pass the last one.
I was going to ask the chair, were you going to pass them as a group
Pass
or?
the first one?
No, I'm passing them each individually.
Okay, well then we do need to go back to 744 and ask for a
We
passage.
didn't pass it.
I move for passage on 744-2020.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
And I move for passage on 745-2020.
Second.
Actually, Chair, we have to waive that one first. We
I waived it before. Okay.
Yeah.
I request to. Which one do I waive to? I requested to waive second reading on both. Which do I need to do again?
now we just need a second, which I think that Councilmember Tyson did. So I'll call the roll on waiving 745.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
All right, now back to chair.
Great. And now I move for passage of 745.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Great. Are we good on 744 and 745?
We're done. They are passed.
Thank you, Council President and and Councilmember Tyson. Or next we have ordinance 844-2020 to authorize the Finance and Management Director on behalf of the Fleet Management Division to establish purchase orders with buyers Ford from previously established universal term contracts for the purchase of vehicles for use by various city departments, to authorize the appropriation and expenditure of $1,841,968 from the Special Income Tax Fund and to declare an emergency. This ordinance is for the purchase of 22 vehicles for Recreation and Parks, 15 vehicles for the Division of Fire, 9 for the Division of Police, 4 for the Division of Refuse Collection, 3 for Division of Weights and Measures, 3 for the Facilities Management Division, and 1 for the Municipal Court, and 1 for the Department of Technology. The Department of Finance and Management budgeted $9 million in the Special Income Tax Fund for 2020 citywide vehicle acquisitions. Emergency action is being considered tonight to meet manufacturer acquisition deadlines and to retire high mileage vehicles that cost more to maintain as quickly as possible. If there are no questions, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President.
Ordinance passed.
Next, I have ordinance 873-2020 to authorize the Director of the Department of Finance and Management on behalf of the Facilities Management Division to renew a contract with CBRE Government Services LLC for facility management services at the Jerry Hammond Center and the Franklin County Municipal Court Building, to authorize the transfer of $20,000 within the Property Management Fund, to authorize the expenditure of $1,119,933 from the Property Management Fund, and to authorize the expenditure of $1,312,443 from the General Fund. The Department of Finance and Management has contracted for facility management services at the Jerry Hammond Center and Franklin County Muni Court Building since 2007. CBRE will be responsible for maintenance, janitorial, and security services at the buildings and will establish capital plans to keep each building in good operating condition. This is the first of 4 possible renewals of this contract. Are there questions from colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
There's a second? Councilmember Tyson?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Ordinance is passed.
Thank you, Council President. May I move to Recreation and Parks?
Please.
Tonight in Recreation and Parks Committee, we have ordinance 0853-2020 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to contract with the Harrells LLC for the purchase of golf course fertilizer and pesticides on behalf of the Recreation and Parks Department, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of City Code, to authorize the expenditure of $62,123.47 from and within the Recreation and Parks Operating Fund, and to declare an emergency. The products being purchased through this ordinance will be utilized at the city's 6 golf courses. The Gulf Division has worked to improve and reduce the pesticides and fertilizers it uses annually to maintain their courses in conditions that allows them to be competitive with other courses in the area. The division has eliminated pesticides linked to killing pollinators, and the specialized product being purchased through this ordinance reduces the number of applications needed. I'm grateful to the Recreation and Parks Department for continuing to be responsible stewards of the environment as they maintain green spaces in Columbus. Competitive bidding is being waived because the company is the only one in Ohio that both produces and applies this product. Emergency action is being considered because the product needs to be applied in May. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
President Harden, I move to my final committee, which is education.
Please.
Thank you. We have two ordinances in education tonight. The first is 878-2020 to authorize and direct the Department of Education to enter into renewal contracts with high-quality pre-kindergarten organizations that provide educational services, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, to authorize the expenditure of up to $1,692,485 from the general fund, and to declare an emergency. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 health crisis, all learning facilities in Ohio, other than temporary pandemic centers, were ordered closed by the governor. However, through our Early Start Columbus program, the city will continue providing funding for Early Start providers through this ordinance. I'm grateful to Matt Smido and the Education Department for continuing to provide these funds. These dollars will go in part towards the salaries of teachers at closed facilities, will help to prevent what very difficult circumstances we know many of our childcare providers as small businesses are facing. We are keeping our eye on this crisis. This is a small but important step in putting workers first as we continue to weather the crisis, and we must ensure that we have the backs of our childcare providers. If we lose additional high quality spots because of the COVID-19 crisis, it will be very hard to serve more children. It will be very hard to serve the same number of children we've been serving, but it will be that much harder to serve more, which is the stated goal of the city and is an important economic development measure for our entire community. Are there any questions on that? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next and finally, we have ordinance 914-2020 to authorize the Director of Education to enter into a contract with Lombardi Consulting to provide a facility operations analysis for the new early learning facility in the Hilltop, to authorize the expenditure of $26,000 from the general fund, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the city code, and to declare an emergency. The new Hilltop Early Learning Facility will host numerous providers with unique needs and operational goals. The Department of Education is contracting with Millard Consulting through this ordinance to answer key operation, management, and funding questions operating structure for this facility and all of its providers to serve our kids here in Columbus. Are there any questions on this ordinance? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That's all I have in my committees, President Harden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next committee to come before council is the Public Utilities Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Dorans. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President Harden. We have a number of ordinances tonight in Public Utilities Committee. First, we have ordinance number 0667-2020 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with UCL Inc. for the Summit View Tank 2020 Painting Improvement Project, to authorize expenditure of up to $1,495,160 within the Water General Obligation Voted Bond Fund to provide for the payment of living wage services, the Department of Public Service, Design and Construction Division, and to amend the 2019 capital improvement budget. The Summit View tank exterior requires a new coating system. There are 37 water tanks in our distribution system that are inspected and identified to be recoated to keep them in optimal condition. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, passage.
Second.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance number 0679-2020 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with BLD Services LLC for lateral lining Clintonville 1 Friar Springs to authorize the appropriation and transfer of $1,298,515.90 from the sanitary sewer reserve fund to the Ohio Water Development Loan Fund to authorize the appropriation of expenditure of $1,298,515.90 in the Ohio Water Development Loan Fund, and to authorize expenditure of up to $2,000 for prevailing wage services from the sanitary sewer obligations voted bond fund. This project consists of rehabilitation of approximately 200 sanitary laterals needed to mitigate water in basement events and sanitary sewer overflows. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance number 0756-2020 to authorize the transfer within an expenditure of up to $1,799,453.30 from the Electricity Geo Bond Fund to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to execute a construction contract with Quality Lines, Inc. for the Circuit 14060 Reliability Improvement Project and to amend the 2019 capital improvement budget. This project is to improve electric reliability in business corridors located on Grant Avenue, Spring Street, and Hamilton Avenue. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, we have ordinance number 0818-2020 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to execute a plan modification for the 2020-2022 Construction Administration Inspection Service Agreement with Resource International, Inc. for 4 public utility projects to authorize the expenditure of up to $622,967.41 within the Water General Obligation Bond Fund, to authorize a transfer and expenditure of up to $799,995.59 from the Sanitary General Obligation Bond Fund, and to authorize an amendment to the 2019 capital improvement budget. The division of sewer and drainage projects include rehabilitation of existing sewers, repairs to existing sewers, construction of new sewers, and construction of green infrastructure. The majority of these projects will reduce inflow and infiltration into the city's sanitary sewer system, thus mitigating sanitary sewer overflows to basements and waterways. Other projects provide improvement to existing storm infrastructure to mitigate drainage and flooding issues. Division of water projects include replacement and rehabilitation of water lines that have high break frequency. The replacements of these water lines will improve water service, decrease burden on water maintenance operations, and reduce water losses. Other projects provide improvements to elevated water storage tanks and booster pump stations that are part of their distribution system. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, we have ordinance number 0828-2020 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to modify an existing professional services agreement with H.R. Gray and Associates, Inc. for the wastewater treatment facilities professional construction management project mod number 3 to authorize the transfer of up to $1,512,691.56 within the expenditure of up to $1,960,961.56 from the Sanitary Sewer Obligation Bond Fund, and to amend the 2019 capital improvement budget. This contract provides construction administration and management services to our wastewater treatment facilities. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, we have ordinance number 0838-2020 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a professional engineering services agreement with Jacobs Engineering Group, Inc. for the Jackson Pipe Wastewater Treatment Plant Digester Improvement Project to authorize the appropriation and transfer of up to $283,144.69 within and an expenditure of up to $2,237,664.69 from the Sanitary Sewer General Obligation Bond Fund, and to authorize an amendment to the 2019 capital improvement budget. With the planned improvements at the Jackson Pike Wastewater Treatment Plant, we will have the necessary infrastructure to significantly reduce the volume of sludge solids, which are greatly reducing the need for further treatment and/or disposal. This process also rids the sludge of contaminants so that they can be thickened and applied as an agricultural fertilizer or sent to the city's compost facility, where it's mixed with yard waste and wood chips to produce a soil amendment and mulch for area resident use. These items are beneficial for the environmental advantages of this project, since the City of Columbus is Green Action Plan specifically calls for expanded reuse of biosolids. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments about these awesome biosolids? Not even. Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, I have ordinance number 0859-2020 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter in a construction contract with Coasting Industrial Inc. for the Hoover Dam Improvements Part 1 project, to authorize the transfer and expenditure of up to $15,383,250 within the Water General Obligation Voted Bond Fund, and to provide for the payment of prevailing wage services to the Department of Public Service for the Division of Water, and to amend the 2019 capital improvement budget. This project will replace dam equipment and dam support systems. Many of these are original elements to the dam and are in need of replacement and repair due to age and related deterioration. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, we have ordinance number 0863-2020 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to pay the State of Ohio Treasurer, Department of Natural Resources for operation and maintenance services and water entitlement costs for withdrawing water from the Allen Creek Reserve for the Division of Water, and to authorize the expenditure of $1,455,651.82 from the Water Operating Fund. This agreement was entered into by the authority of Ordinance 1663-71, passed, you may guess it, in November of 1971. This is an annual payment to keep this agreement in place. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. And finally, in the Public Utilities Committee, we have ordinance number 1111-2020 to authorize the Finance and Management Director to enter into a contract on behalf of the Office of Construction Management with Traybell LLC for the Sustainable Columbus Community Choice Aggregation Project, and to declare an emergency. The purpose of this project is to implement a program that provides the City of Columbus residents and small commercial retail companies a means to pool their aggregate demand for electric and/or natural gas accounts, so that economies of scale can be used to purchase energy at a reduced cost and increase the use of renewable energy sources. Personally, I like to call this collective bargaining for energy purchasing. By pooling our residents together, we collectively have more buying power. That buying power means we have significant leverage to help both lower the cost of energy for residents and support clean energy development in our region. The three primary goals of the city's electric and natural gas aggregation program will be: one, provide competitive retail energy supply costs for Columbus citizens; two, support renewable energy development, especially local renewable energy generation, and to advance Columbus's sustainable economy; and three, to ensure that suppliers provide quality, reliable, first-rate customer service to our residents. Traybell LLC will assist the city with developing a community choice aggregation program before and after a planned ballot initiative, which will include implementing the communications plan to support the city's community choice aggregation ballot initiative, assisting the city in all steps needed to obtain certification from the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio to become a government aggregator for electric and natural gas, and developing an RFP for electric and natural gas supply for Columbus residents and small commercial retailers in our region. Tonight's ordinance solidifies this contract is just the first step in this project that we will take over the next 6 months and beyond the November election. Later this summer, when we're able to meet safely, the Public Utilities Committee and the Environment Committee will host a public hearing on this topic before placing an initiative on the ballot. This will give members of the public an opportunity to learn more about utility aggregation and the potential benefits to Columbus before they ask to decide whether or not to vote for the measure in the fall. Again, tonight we're taking the first but a very important step towards community aggregation and the benefits it will bring to our residents and our environment. Before I move for passage, I wanted to invite Director Lombardi to say a few words on the topic.
Well, I hope this works. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah. Well, my wife would love the mute button. Council President Harden, Councilmember Dorans, and other council members, I think Councilmember Dorans hit most of the high spots. This was a very great opportunity for the city to look at aggregation. At the 2020 State of the City, Mayor Ginther did announce that the City of Columbus would pursue implementing a community choice aggregation program with the goal to have 100% renewable energy to residents and small businesses by 2020. As Councilmember Dorans said, this is the first step toward this program. And I would like to thank my colleagues over at Public Utilities who helped us through this RFP process. Elena Schucke, on my staff, Samantha Schneider, and then Aaron Beck from the mayor's office were on the committee that put forth the effort to get to this point. So thank you very much for your support, and we look forward to seeing where this program goes in the future.
Thanks, Director Lombardi, and I want to echo your comments to the diversity and the wide team that I think did a lot of work to get us to where we are today to be able to enter into this contract. So thank you to the folks that you mentioned, both in your shop and the Department of Public Utilities. Next, I think we have a first ever for City Council. We have a speaker slip on this ordinance. So we are going to make sure that hopefully this works well. We have Miss Kathy Cohen-Becker. Is she on the line?
Yes, I sure am. I don't know if you can see me or hear me.
We can hear you, Kathy, so feel free to take it away. You are, I believe, the first virtual speaker for Columbus City Council. It's an honorable distinction, so the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for making this time for me to testify today. So I am chair of the Sierra Club's Ready for 100 campaign in Columbus and in Ohio. As you may know, Ready for 100 is a campaign to ask cities to commit to 100% renewable energy. And so far, 162 cities, 13 counties, 8 states, DC, and Puerto Rico have all made some version of this commitment. And in Ohio, that's Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lakewood, and we hope Columbus. We're the 14th largest city in the country, and what we do matters. So I testified at City Council about this topic on February 10th, but a lot has happened since then. So I wanted to come back and visit these events. So since I was last here, Mayor Ginther, as noted, said in his State of the City address that Columbus will pursue a ballot initiative for aggregation. He set a goal of 100% renewable by 2022. And Columbus has received an A rating for its actions on climate change from the Carbon Disclosure Project. So this is all really great news for Columbus, and our campaign has been active for the past 3 years asking for just these steps. And we want to thank Mayor Ginther for doing this. And we also want to thank you, Councilmember Dorans, and Councilmember Remy for recognizing the potential of community choice aggregation to be a game changer for bringing renewable energy into Central Ohio. But we do have just a few more asks to get this over the finish line. So as you know, we need to put aggregation onto the November ballot to get the approval of voters. And we think they'll pass this, and Worthington residents passed this by 75%. But we're ready to help provide voter education or really whatever support we can to help you pass this initiative. It's an abstract concept, but your analogy of collective bargaining for renewable energy is a good one. And we can use it to leverage 100% clean energy for our city at a good price. So second, we would like to use this to leverage the build-up of local renewable energy projects to directly power our homes and businesses. So some cities are declaring 100% renewable energy by buying renewable energy certificates, which are basically carbon offsets. And while that's better than running on fossil fuels, the money goes to support renewable energy somewhere else, and it's not an investment in our community. So we'd like to see local sources of renewable energy to create jobs, clean the air, improve public health, and directly lower our carbon emissions, which are all things we're going to need in a post-COVID Columbus. Local renewable energy is an economic development tool, and a commitment from Columbus could get such a project built. That's how it worked in Cincinnati, and we think it can happen here. And finally, we'd like to see all of this aggregation for 100% renewable energy on the ballot, a goal of 100% renewable electricity by 2022, and leveraging our demand for renewable energy to get construction of local solar projects included in the city's forthcoming climate action plan. This document's going to set our climate road ahead for at least the next decade, and it demands that we be bold, specific, and transparent in our goals, and that we know how we're going to get there. So basically, Columbus is doing everything right on renewable energy, but we want to see these last steps codify what the city is already doing, so we can give Columbus the recognition it deserves as a 100% renewable energy city. And I'd be happy to take any questions if you have any.
Yeah. Do you and my colleagues have any questions for Kathy? Seeing none. Kathy, I want to thank you for speaking tonight on this important issue, and I know you and your group will be key allies for us to continue to work with as we move through this process over the summer and towards the ballot initiative to do a lot of the things that you just talked about. So thank you for your advocacy on this subject, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. I wanted to open it up to my colleagues, but I know Councilmember Remy wanted to speak on this, as he's been a champion of this policy and initiative as well. Councilmember Remy?
Thank you very much, Councilmember Dorans. Of course, thank you for your hard work on this important issue, as well as the Office of Sustainability team, the entire team over there, as we work towards this objective in November. Thank you, Kathy, for your testimony. We certainly, Councilmember Dorans and I are in close conversations about where we'd like to see the design of this and how we'd like to ensure that our local economy benefits from this important legislation. So we will be working towards that goal, and we're very optimistic that this will be a game changer for our efforts in creating a more sustainable Columbus. But certainly stand in support of this and look forward to the design and implementation of the campaign. We've got a lot of work to do before November to raise awareness and to make sure that people understand how important this legislation is overall. But certainly look forward to the work ahead. And again, thanks again, Councilmember Dorans, for your leadership.
Thanks, Councilmember Remy. I'm looking forward to the Public Utilities and Environment Committee working together on this. So thank you for those words. Do any of my colleagues have any other, would they like to make any comments or any questions at this point? Seeing none, I would then ask to move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Ordinance passed.
Thank you, Council President. And with that, we are done with the Public Utilities Committee. Is it if I go ahead and move on to the Technology Committee?
Please.
Thank you. In technology, we have ordinance number 1028-2020 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management on behalf of the Department of Technology for the City Attorney's Office to establish a purchase order for the conversion of legal documents via backfile scanning and electronic signature processes capabilities with 3SG Plus LLC, using a state term contract to waive the competitive bidding provisions for the City of Columbus Code, to authorize the expenditure of $50,000 from the Information Services Bond Fund, and to declare emergency. The City Attorney's Office requires the ability to automate processing and storage information related to legal matters assigned to their office. This purchase will allow the conversion of legal documents via backfile scanning. Will also provide the ability to utilize electronic signatures for processing on a more extensive basis that's currently in place. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments, or is there a dog that has a question? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
I'm just excited that wasn't my dog. Council President, with your permission, I'd like to go back to ordinance ordinance number 1114-2020 on first reading in the Neighborhoods Committee on page 5 of tonight's agenda.
Of course, I thought that was Captain though. Go ahead.
No, Captain's sleeping, I think. I'm lucking out at this moment. I have ordinance number 1114-2020 to authorize the Columbus City Council to enter into a grant agreement with the Greater Columbus Arts Council in support of curbside concerts and to authorize an appropriation of the expenditure within the Neighborhood Initiative Subfund. Council President, as the chief supporter of this funding, I would like to turn the floor over to you to speak about this ordinance.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I am excited about this ordinance. Several weeks ago, or I guess 7 weeks ago or so, when the COVID crisis made its way through Columbus, a local group called Can't Stop Columbus was formed. It was mostly young folks who had been formerly in the tech community. They wanted to come together to figure out how they could hack to solve community issues. One of the issues that I knew would be critical to address was how do we keep seniors in particular and those who have ailments who can't leave their homes, how could we engage them and keep them socially connected? Younger folks and folks who are understood technology were able to make the transition pretty quickly and get on Zoom and use other types of technology to stay connected. But we knew that seniors would not have it so easy. So we reached out to this group, Can't Stop CBUS, and asked them to hack this idea, come up with a solution that would keep our seniors connected. Several weeks later, they came back with this amazing project. They called it Curbside Concerts. It's a twofer. It supports our local artists who are largely out of work to go out and to perform about 20-minute concerts for free for Columbus seniors and sick and shut-in. It's an amazing, amazing program, amazing project. We encourage folks, if you have a senior that is still shut in, to reach out to Curbside Concerts and to utilize them. But I went out and with the group and safely from the driveway, from the pickup truck, they engaged these seniors and sick and shut-ins. It's an amazing way to keep our Columbus vulnerable population as it pertains to COVID safe yet socialized. And so this is a small support from the City of Columbus, from the City Council. I appreciate my colleagues who have put in resources. I think the Chair of the Senior Services Committee, Councilmember Mitch Brown, added resources, as well as Councilmember Favor to this. But I just appreciate everybody's support to get this over the finish line.
Thank you, Council President. I've seen a couple of the videos of some of the conferences, and it seems to be a very cool experience for everybody involved. So if there are no other questions or comments from any of our colleagues, one, I move to amend ordinance 1114-2020 to emergency.
Second.
By voice vote.
By voice vote.
Second.
Please call the roll by voice, please.
Abstain.
Yes.
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 Yes, ordinance is amended.
And now I would move for passage by voice vote.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Abstain.
Yes.
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 Yes, ordinance is passed with the exception.
And thank you, President Harden. With all of that, that is all I have in my committees this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next committee to come before council is the Public Service Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Favor. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President Harden. Tonight in Public Service and Transportation, we have ordinance number 545-2020 to authorize the city attorney to file complaints in order to immediately appropriate and accept the remaining fee simple and lesser real estate necessary to timely complete the Urban Infrastructure Recovery Fund Sidewalks Project, to authorize the expenditure of $24,677 from existing ACD 1000758-10 and ACDI 001012-0 to pay for the acquisition of real estate. The Department of Public Service is completing the UIRF Sidewalks Project. The city's acquisition of the real estate will help continue the work of this project, which will be open to the public upon completion. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I would move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance number 0825-2020 to amend the 2019 capital improvement budget to authorize the appropriation and transfer of funds from the Special Income Tax Fund to the Streets and Highways Taxable Bond Fund, to authorize the appropriation of funds within the Streets and Highways Taxable Bond Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a professional service contract with Moody Nolan for the miscellaneous economic development Confluence Village Garage project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $500,000 from the Streets and Highways Taxable Bond Fund for this contract, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance supports a new City of Columbus parking garage to be built on a new parcel within Confluence Village. The parking garage is planned to contain a minimum of 600 spaces and is intended to support the parking needs of the future office and residential mixed-use development at Confluence Village, and provide some public parking for events at the new Columbus Crew Stadium. Director Gallagher, are there any additional comments you'd like to provide?
Good evening, Council President Harden and Council Chair Favor. It's good to see all of you this evening. I miss everybody. It's good to see you in your little boxes. Just a few extra little things this evening. As you said, this is for the Phase 1 design. So this is just to get Moody Nolan started on the design aspects. This garage is for the mixed-use office and residential development. It will be used for some of the special events at the Columbus Crew Stadium. The garage will be built on 1 1/4 acres of Confluence Village property on the western border of the Arena District. As you said, Council Member, the garage will contain a minimum of 600 spaces, and the construction is expected to start in the first quarter of 2021 and can be completed in the first half of 2022. The first phase of the design, I can't even speak, of the design work by Moody Nolan includes the schematic design and design development tasks. We will be coming back to you for a contract modification at a future date for funds for Phase 2 design, which will include the final design task, the production of the construction documents, and the closeout task and service needed for the garage's construction. And so we will be coming back to you at a later date for that. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you, Director Gallagher. Director Stevens, can you speak to the mixed-use development associated with the project?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Favor, President Harden, members of council. There's going to be approximately 120,000 square feet office being built, 400 residential housing units. Today, hopefully you saw the announcement by the Housing Sports Group and local developer that they're going to partner with here, Pizzuti, and there's a commitment in that to do 20% affordable workplace housing above 80% AMI and higher. There will also be about 30,000 square feet of retail that this garage will help service. So between the retail, the office, and the housing, the garage is a critical component of this development.
Thank you, Director Stevens. Are there any questions from my colleagues, for myself or Director Gallagher or Director Stevens?
Councilmember.
Yes, Council President Harden?
I don't have a question, just wanted to highlight the good work that has been going on in terms of Office of Diversity and Inclusion. In terms of tracking the minority spend, has highlighted this firm is a minority-owned firm. Right now, I think that for the overall project, they're hovering around 20 to 25% in terms of minority spend, on their way to their 30% goal. So just appreciate the engagement. Certainly, it's great to hear about the 20% affordable housing or workforce housing that has been committed to. So just appreciate your leadership as we work and partner to expand and build off this district.
Thank you, Council President Harden, for acknowledging that. Any additional comments or concerns? Seeing none, I'd move for passage.
Second.
Call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. President Harden, may I please move on to housing?
Please.
In housing, we have ordinance number 1030-2020 to authorize the Director of Development to enter into a loan document modification with Parsons Village LLC to allow an increase in the permitted first mortgage amount up to $1,700,000 and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorizes a loan document modification for Parsons Village 2, which will provide 60 units of affordable housing for seniors. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I'd move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance number 0875-020 to authorize and direct the administrative and presiding judge of the Franklin County Municipal Court to accept a grant award from the Supreme Court of Ohio in the amount of $124,069.29, funding the equipment and software required to implement video arraignments and remote hearings, especially for use during the COVID-19 pandemic, to appropriate $124,069.29 from the unappropriated balance of the General Government Grant Fund to the Franklin County Municipal Court, to authorize the expenditure of $106,769.49 from the General Government Grant Fund, to authorize the administrative and presiding judge of the Franklin County Municipal Court to enter into contract with Business Informations Incorporated, BIS Digital, in the amount of $106,769.49 from the grant funds and to declare an emergency. I'm happy, very delighted that our administrative judge, Judge Ted Barrows, has joined us. Judge Barrows, could you provide us with some additional information around this legislation?
Thank you. Chair Favor, Council President Harden, members of council, it's my pleasure to be here to address you this evening, even though I'm not immediately in your presence. It's often said that of the three branches of government, the court is the most conservative in terms of changing habits and approaches, and that's true in this instance too. With this ordinance, the Franklin County Municipal Court is moving in part into the 21st century and taking advantage of technology to save the cost of transporting prisoners from the jail to the court for their hearings, specifically their arraignment court hearings. I'm especially appreciative of the Supreme Court of Ohio that stepped into the coronavirus pandemic situation, recognized the shortcomings in terms of all the courts across the state of Ohio who have failed to implement this kind of technology and make these funds available to us. I want to particularly shout out to a couple of members of our staff, Melinda Brooks, who writes grants for us, and Mariah Hissam, who is our business systems business analyst, which actually means she's the one person in the court who's the most tech savvy, because all of us are, once again, in the 20th century. This will allow us to save money on behalf of the sheriff from transporting prisoners to court. And we, in addition to the arraignment sessions, which this will fund, we're also buying 3 additional carts that will allow us to do remote hearings from the courtroom, where, especially in civil cases, the parties to a case can be present remotely. A record can be made of the proceedings, and I can preside over over those proceedings from the courtroom. And once again, on our way into the 21st century, only a little bit late. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge Barrows. And I just want to extend my appreciation for your leadership, as well as to your colleagues for your willingness to adapt to these unprecedented times. We truly do give you a round of applause for that. Are there any additional questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I would move for passage.
Please call the roll.
By voice vote, my apologies.
Ms. Brown?
I'm mute. I am so sorry. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Dorans?
Yes.
Ms. Favor?
Yes.
Mr. Remy?
Yes.
Ms. Tyson?
Yes.
President Harden?
Ordinance is passed.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. That's all I have in my committees, Council President Harden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next committee to come before council is the Economic Development Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Remy. Councilmember Remy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Council President Harden. I have two items in Economic Development Committee this evening. The first one's ordinance number 831, 2020, to authorize the Director of Department of Development to enter into a contract with One Columbus in an amount up to $700,000 for economic development activities associated with business relocation, expansion, retention, and as well as other activities related to other activities related to the City of Columbus's continued interest in workforce development, marketing, and entrepreneurship. To authorize the expenditure of $700,000 from the 2020 General Fund operating budget and to declare an emergency. One Columbus, the economic development organization for the 11-county Columbus region, has set forth a vision for the Columbus region to be the most prosperous region in the United States. Similar to the former Columbus 2020, One Columbus will continue to work in partnership with state and local partners focused on helping existing businesses grow and compete, diversify the economy through the attraction of new businesses and support new formed high-growth enterprises. The One Columbus strategy includes critical imperatives. The imperatives are as follows: to sustain our economic momentum by continuing to make economic growth and prosperity a top priority, develop, inspire, and attract a talented, adaptive, and diverse workforce to compete for investment, enable the innovation capacity of businesses, academic and government sectors to grow dynamically, increase global identity and connectivity. One Columbus is also committed to achieving greater results than the goals achieved by Columbus 2020 in the last decade. Growth predictions include a 10% to 15% increase in jobs, payroll, and investment, while focusing on removing barriers to growth and prosperity. One Columbus will continue to work in partnership to generate opportunity and build capacity for economic growth. I would like to turn the floor over to Kenny McDonald, the President and Chief Economic Officer of One Columbus, to share a few words. Kenny, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Councilman President Harden, members of the council. Hope everybody can hear me. I just want to first say thank you for your leadership and all your incredible work, your council, and word of encouragement to our economic development community throughout this is much needed. Our economic developers are the front line in a serious fight to rebuild our economy from the ground up effectively as we get going again. And I appreciate the shout out earlier in the week or earlier in the meeting around Economic Development Week, which is a celebration of those people who work in our neighborhoods and on small business financing and minority development, all the way up to the work we do at One Columbus at corporate recruiting and working with some of the largest businesses in the world. I'll just take a few moments to set some context. We ended this last decade incredibly strong, and we knew that the march towards 2030 was going to be different. And none of us predicted that it would be quite this different soon. But we're going into the storm with quite a headwind. We actually were doing fantastic. More people were working in our city and our region than ever before. A lot had been accomplished, and we had incredible momentum, and that has helped us as we've went into this storm. And it'll continue to help us as we fight our way through it. We had a strategy that we ended the year on, and I think it's appropriate to talk about that for just a minute, because I think the principles of the plan are still critically important. First of all, the vision is maybe more important than ever, that as we begin our fight to get back to where we think we belong, which is a thriving economy with people moving here from around the world, and people mingling and getting together, which we were doing this evening. Sorry about that. And we're incredibly fortunate to have the strong backing of the momentum we went into this with. Our first order of business is to flatten the curve on unemployment. It is an incredible problem. It's some numbers at 15 or 16% across our region already, and in some of our counties, I believe that could be a bit worse. We're focused on that. We are working with those companies that we already have in the region every day. In fact, we've reached out to hundreds of them in the last 45 days, perhaps more than ever before. I want to let the council know that we're also positioning Columbus and our region around the world on a daily basis as well. In fact, we are hosting companies that are looking at our region even this week. And those are exciting and good calls to have in the midst of all the negative news that we've encountered. There's still companies that want to build and tap into the great talent that we have in our region, and it's going to put thousands of people to work. And so we're going to stay really focused on that. And I appreciate all of your staff members, development staff, as well as all the utility staff and everything working through issues with us on a daily basis. I do want to acknowledge that the vision that we set out to achieve at the beginning of this decade acknowledged that we had real inequities in our community, in the small business community, and we've seen it play out through the relief package. We continue to see it play out in terms of those most impacted by this crisis, but we are not convinced that it has to be worse at the end of this just because we're going through this storm. In fact, we want to be very mindful of the things we do as we reapproach the economy and start to build things back up. So we take time to try to close those gaps as we do things differently. And I think that's what achieving that vision was always about. We're just going to have a bigger and better opportunity to do that right now. And we're looking for the silver linings in how we're going to go about this. We are incredibly encouraged by your support. This region is definitely built around the city of Columbus, the economic weight of Columbus, the collaborative nature of Columbus, the government, as well as the community of Columbus. And we're counting on it, and I think Ohio is counting on Columbus to perform at a very high level. So again, I just want to say thank you very much for your support. We do see great opportunities in all of this, in some of our sectors. And we're going to keep working to not only achieve growth, but close some of the gaps that have caused some of the other issues in our community. And as you all know, they're expanding on a daily basis. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much, Kenny. We appreciate your leadership and, of course, the partnership that the city of Columbus has with One Columbus. I know we work very closely together. We talk regularly, and I'm very encouraged with, despite everything that's been going on for the past 7-8 weeks, that we have the momentum that we have, and the the interest is still there. So thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues this evening in regards to this?
I'll just, Councilmember Remy.
Yeah, President Pro Tem Brown.
Thank you. I'll just quickly add, thank you, Kenny, for being here and doing the work of One Columbus. I really appreciate, you could not have known during the time that you did your rebranding to One Columbus and to the mission of shared prosperity. You could not have known what was coming. That mission of shared prosperity is more important than ever as we navigate this health crisis and the coming economic crisis, which you very eloquently laid out in terms of our employers. People having access to a good job and a good career is the only way that we're going to be able to rebuild families coming out of this. Jobs with good benefits, and jobs that acknowledge that workers are not, computers that boot up when they reach the workplace in the morning and then power down, but have 24/7 responsibilities and dependence at home as well. So I appreciate that you had the unintended foresight months ago with your rebranding about prosperity and shared prosperity, because it is needed now critically and more than ever. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Brown. Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, Chairman Remy. Kenny, thank you for the work that you do each and every day. I certainly appreciate the conversations that you and I have had, and I really appreciate your comments tonight about small businesses. That certainly COVID has certainly brought to the forefront some of the issues that we certainly still have in our community, and just realizing that, recognizing that you understand those, and that are gonna, as we continue to move forward, which will probably take a few years as we move forward through this, that there is a commitment to work with small businesses and especially those businesses. I think that certainly, as we talked about through the PPP program, some of the ways of ensuring that these businesses move forward. So I appreciate what you've been doing for our community. It's been great work, but we have more work to do. And I appreciate that your willingness to continue to work on these other areas that are important for our community to move forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Tyson. If there are no further questions or comments from my colleagues, for passage.
Second.
Please call.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Ordinance is passed. I'm going to interject here, Mr. Chairman, and ask for a motion to recess so we can go to zoning.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Council is recessed. We will reconvene in 2 minutes for our zoning meeting. Will now come to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal?
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
We will now go to the zoning committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs that committee. All members serve on it. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I have ordinance number 981, 2020 to rezone 2505 and 2515 Lockbourne Road, being 4.38 acres located on the west side of Lockbourne Road, 287 feet south of State Route 104, from R2 Residential District to C2 Commercial District. The applicant is Starting Point Family Center, care of Melissa Johnson, agent. The proposed use is a child care, training, and education uses. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Far South Columbus Area Commission's recommendation is approval 9-0. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I first move to waive second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. And now I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 983-2020 to rezone 4980 Roberts Road, being 1.36 acres located on the north side of Roberts Road, 225 feet west of Walcott Road from CPD Commercial Plan Development and the LC4 Limited Commercial District to CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The applicant is Jean Cabral. The proposed use is a car wash and oil change facility. The city department's recommendation is approval, and the Far West Side Area Commission's recommendation is approval 6-0. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move to waive second reading.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. And now I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Ordinance is passed.
Thank you. That concludes the zoning agenda this evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
We stand adjourned. We will reconvene for council as soon as we can get back up.
Night.
A motion to reconvene, council meeting 18.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Council is reconvened. We are in the Economic Development Committee. Councilmember, the committee, Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you once again, Council President Harden. Finally, this evening in the committee, I have ordinance number 964-2020 to authorize the Director of Department of Building and Zoning Services to extend the contract with Columbus City Schools for the implementation of education and career-based training programs and to declare an emergency. Ordinance number 578-2018 and 994-2019 authorized and extended the contract with Columbus City Schools for the education and career-based training program. The construction trades education program will create new career-based training programs that begin earlier so that students are prepared to enter pre-apprentice and apprenticeship programs. This investment will give more young people in Columbus the chance to be trained in the trades. The initial contract covered a one-year period and extension covered a second year. Because of the closure of the schools due to COVID-19, it's now necessary to extend the contract to December 31st, 2020. No additional funds are necessary. I think this is a very important piece of legislation as it reminds us of the value of skilled trades and the opportunities that continue to come online in these industries. Traditional college education, though amazing, is for everyone, and we must work together to prepare other opportunities for our children. There are changing opportunities in skilled trade industries that are great jobs and career opportunities. It's also important to note that Central Ohio has a large deficit in our local skilled trades workforce. The majority of our workforce in skilled trades are baby boomers who may be looking at retirement soon. With that, I'd like to see if any of my colleagues have any comments or questions this evening. Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, Councilman Remy. I just want to have a special shout out to Director Messer for this legislation. Just really appreciate that based upon Building and Zoning Services, that there's funds in his department to be able to continue to provide resources in areas that are directly related to his area of work. And so these dollars, $175,000, as you just mentioned, the schools that was provided to the school system to make sure that we have a workforce prepared for the future. Many of our individuals that are working in the building trades certainly are getting to a place where they soon want to be able to retire. And we definitely need to have a workforce prepared to be able to come step into those jobs. And as we all know, that the construction trades also, if you think about how you a livable wage, certainly will provide a livable wage to have been providing and will continue to provide a livable wage. And so we want to make sure that young people have the opportunity to get that training and to be able to have good, well-paying, livable wage jobs to support their families. And as we move forward through COVID-19, I just also want to share that during this process that the Building and Zoning Services have been open and reviewing and inspecting all the same places within the same timelines that they were really doing before the pandemic. So they really haven't stopped doing the work that they do each and every day. But again, this is an important piece of legislation to continue to make sure that that young people have the opportunity to learn these trades to be prepared to take care of their families. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Tyson. Are there any other comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I'd also like to echo that. Thank you, Director Messer. I appreciate your hard work in this department and certainly all the work that the skilled trades have done to develop this program with Columbus City Schools. Seeing no other comments or questions, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you very much. That's all I have this evening in economic development.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next committee to come before council is the Health and Human Services Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Tyson. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I have ordinance number 849-2020. Excuse me, this ordinance is to authorize and direct the Board of Health to accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Health for the Coronavirus Response Grant Program in the amount of $1,019,770 to authorize the appropriation of $1,019,770 to the Health Department and the Health Department's Grants Fund and to declare an emergency. The Coronavirus Preparedness and Response Supplemental Appropriation was passed on March the 6th. This act provided funding to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have activated its cooperative agreement for emergency response for disease control and for disease control prevention was activated. Public health crisis response to provide funding to state, territorial, and tribal health departments to carry out various COVID-19 activities. As the state of Ohio and local health districts prepare and respond to COVID, funding from this cooperative agreement will be allocated to local health districts. This one-time funding will be distributed to public health emergency preparedness, PHEP, recipients and subcontracted to non-PHEP local health departments where applicable. And so Columbus Public Health will be receiving these dollars. You heard earlier from Michael Felding to give us a report on the activity from Columbus Public Health. But this is day 101. We have 283 employees that is focused on the COVID-19. And as Michael mentioned, we've already spent 35,000 hours and $1.8 million. So, and this grant is, $1,019,000. So again, as you can, we're spending more money than we receive from the federal government, but I certainly do appreciate getting these dollars to be able to offset the cost and to support the work of Columbus Public Health. If there are no more questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage. Oh, I'm sorry, did anybody have a comment? I missed somebody?
I don't think so.
Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Ordinance passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The final committee to come before council is the Rules and Reference Committee. I chair that committee. I'm going to turn the floor over to Councilmember Mitch Brown.
Thank you, Council President. We saved the absolute best for last, the most exciting stuff you're going to hear all evening. To amend chapters 585, 586, 587, 589, 592, 593, and 594 of the Columbus City Code to clarify the composition and authority of the Vehicle for Hire Board, to remove fees relating to vehicle for hire licenses, and to give the Director of Department of Public Safety the authority to set fees, to stagger the terms of vehicle for hire driver's licenses, to remove references to transportation network companies, and to authorize licensees to initiate license renewal 60 days prior to the license expiration and to declare an emergency. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend various sections of the city's licensing code pertaining to vehicles for hire. Several updates have been made to this code over the past decade, including revisions to include new modes of transportation such as microtransit vehicles and pedal wagons. Currently, the city is proposing new changes to further modernize the code. These changes include removing sections involving transportation network companies over which the state of Ohio has sole regulatory authority, and staging the terms of vehicle for hire driver's licenses to offer drivers increased flexibility. If there are no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
That's all I have, sir.
There are no further comments from my council. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Dorans, Favor, Remy, Tyson, President Harden.
Council is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.